All right, guys, so this blueprint is click to messenger ad for webinar signups. So if you have a webinar in your business or you're thinking about incorporating a webinar in your business, this blueprint is for you. Webinars are great because they allow you to build a relationship with an audience and then, of course, make a pitch for a product or service. But a huge issue with webinars nowadays are the conversion rates on the landing pages are decreasing because people are getting frustrated with filling out forms. The show up rates are decreasing because they're not getting their reminder emails to remind them to show up. And you're seeing conversion rates of the follow-up from the webinar, following up about whatever promotion, whatever offer you made on the webinar. People are having trouble with that, again, because of email deliverability. So I would like to encourage you to think about, no matter what you're selling, how you could use this blueprint in your business. So let me give you a brief overview here. So you have a click to messenger Facebook ad. So we've talked about these a lot. If you need more detail, go to module 3, watch the video about Facebook ads, or reference the last few blueprints about click to messenger ads. We'll incorporate the JSON growth tool. So this Facebook ad is simply going to promote the webinar, right? So say this is a webinar that's either evergreen, so they can always access it, or maybe you have a specific date in mind where you're having this webinar. Maybe it's next week. So, take and, change the strategy to fit exactly what you're doing in your business. But you're promoting this webinar here. Again, you could leverage an ad that you already have that's worked to get people to sign up for the webinar. You would just need to add some copy explaining that they would register inside of Facebook Messenger. So we're going to use the JSON growth tool. We will welcome them, thank them, have them click a button to say yes, they want to register. If you would like, you could gather some more contact information here and use Zapier to send that off to your CRM. If you are doing this live, or you have a few days before the webinar is going to happen, you could create a gallery, use the gallery option when building your message, and put links so that they could add this webinar to their Google Calendar, Apple Calendar. You could add Yahoo, and I'll show you an example of this. This is not necessary, but this will help increase show-up rates. Of course, you can send a reminder message. That's not promotional at all, to remind them that the webinar is happening today. And then maybe again that the webinar is happening in an hour. You can then say it's time, click here to watch the webinar. So this would probably link off to a web page that actually delivers the webinar, or a link to whatever webinar delivery service that you're using. You can then follow up with these people that are still engaged and ask if they're interested in whatever offer you made on the webinar, right? So you could be promotional and link over to a sales page. You can also follow up with a replay to people who showed up and to people who didn't show up. So this is another item that you could add to this pretty significant sequence that you would build to get people to sign up for a webinar, to get them to get ready for the webinar, to remind them of the webinar, to deliver the webinar, to follow up about any promotions you offered on the webinar, and a replay, right? And if they engage with the replay, then of course you could be promotional again. I know I already showed this in the course, but I want to quickly go through an example from HubSpot where they did a really great job of this. So this was a 4 days of Facebook live virtual event. It wasn't necessarily a webinar, like a one-time 1 hour webinar, but it's the exact same concept. So reserve your spot today, register on Messenger. I would have put reserve your spot today, register, in Facebook Messenger by clicking below right here, just to further set that expectation. But this was great. I clicked the ad. We had the opt-in message, let's get you registered so you get the most out of 4 days of Facebook. You'll hear from speakers like Gary Vee, etc. I clicked register now. Now I'm a subscriber. Now I'm subscribed to a sequence. Great, your registration will take less than a minute. First, what's your email address? You'll get recaps, updates, and helpful news through there. This is such a great way to position the reason for them to ask me for their contact information and not just deliver the information on the webinar. What's the name of your company? What's the URL of your website? How many people work at your company? It'll help us send you more helpful content. Pick an option below. Again, a great way to frame why they're asking for more information. And then they had some quick replies below. To make sure we send the right follow-ups, do you work at a marketing agency, right? Again, they frame this in such a beautiful way. Last thing, to complete your registration, what's your phone number, right? So to complete your registration, it made me feel the need to answer so that I completed. We'll keep it safe, pinky promise. And then I gave my phone number. Great, you're registered for 4 days of Facebook. So they took all of the form fields that they ask on a traditional landing page and just split them up here, but in a very tactful way. They said, great, you're registered. They had a little gift to increase in excitement. And then they went ahead and made me an offer because we're in the 24-hour window. Not using HubSpot yet? On day 3, you'll learn how to use Facebook lead ads with the free HubSpot tool, HubSpot Marketing Free. You'll need to have a free account ready to follow along. Sign up for free below. So they're actually getting people to sign up for a free version of HubSpot because it's positioned as a part of this webinar. And then they didn't stop there. They followed up with add to calendar, like we talked about earlier. These could simply be, a gallery where you link to different calendars that these people might be using so that they actually show up. And then down here, they actually deliver the webinar. Welcome to the start of 4 days of Facebook. It's going to be an awesome week. And you clicked here and it took you over to a landing page to actually watch the webinar. So the conversation stopped after this from HubSpot, which was kind of disappointing as a marketer, but you could have continued following up with these people with a replay, with whatever offer you made, with more content. So let's think about what this would look like for our Yoga Life business. So maybe we're doing a webinar on, maybe it's a webinar that's an hour-long yoga session, right? Live yoga session where people follow along, almost like an hour-long live class, where at the end you would, say we were pitching a free class for a brick and mortar. We could say, hey, if you enjoyed this free webinar, this free online yoga class, go ahead and sign up for a free week of yoga inside of our studio, right? If you loved it online, I know you would love it in person in our actual store. So you could use this for a brick and mortar. You could do a webinar with a free, you could do the same webinar and pitch a paid online course, right? If you want to take this to the next level, you can purchase this paid online yoga course, or like we did in the free online training that spans over multiple days, you could actually pitch, e-commerce physical products that have to do with yoga. But a webinar can work no matter what. And it's awesome distributed through Messenger because people are actually going to be reminded. They're actually going to show up and they're actually going to engage with you after the webinar with whatever promotions or replays or other content you have to provide. So if you have a webinar in your business or you're thinking about adding a webinar to your business, this is a great way to distribute it. You're going to get much cheaper webinar registrations than if you were to send traffic to a landing page and ask people to sign up, because again, this is easier for the end user, even if you're asking them for some contact information. They're answering questions, from a friend inside a messenger. They're not filling out a form that they know is going to be used for marketing purposes. So it's just way less friction. It's easier for them to type into Messenger, and they haven't left the Facebook ad platform. Especially if you're running these ads to cold traffic and people who have never heard of you before. And then, of course, using Messenger is a way to ensure the rest of this strategy gets the most attention from prospects as possible. So sit back, think about how you can incorporate this in your business or for your clients, and I will see you guys in the next video.